So after every acquisition that we do a postmortem with the team and the people that are involved, both on the acquisition partner side and then our kind of core internal centralized teams too, and really look at what went well, what did not go well, how we can get better, and just really being very thoughtful and intentional about the changes that we make to make that a better process.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Connected Advisor. I'm your host, Kyle Van Pelt, co-founder of Milemarker, and today I am joined by Kristen Oziemkowski. Kristen is the COO of the Mather Group, and she is also the world's best third grade cheerleading coach. Kristen, thanks so much for joining the show.
Yeah, excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, so Kristen, I have had hundreds of conversations on the air, off the air about this. And I have found that some people have a traditional path into the industry. Some people have an untraditional path into the industry. But what I've found is whether your path is traditional or untraditional, everybody has what we call a money moment. And it's that moment where kind of the light bulb goes off. You're headed down a path, but something clicks where you decide wealth management is the place where I want to be. So for you, what was that money moment that led you to sitting in the chair you're in right now?
Yeah, so I would say I've kind of fell into wealth management more so than was sort of seeking it out. I was a University of Michigan economics major. I actually started my career as part of a rotational program at Bank of America Merrill Lynch, spent about 10 years there. And then after 10 years and a lot of travel to New York and a bit of exhaustion, I had a one-year-old at home.
Oh, wow.
I met Stuart Mather, and he described his vision for the firm. He was really looking to start to scale and build out the back office functions and some of the other arms of the firm. He wanted to expand his geographic footprint. He wanted to get into the M&A space. And so I took a big leap of faith, going from a very, very large company to a much smaller company at the time. And my offer letter from him actually said, that I would grow into his eventual COO. So that's sort of how I ended up at TMG and in the wealth management industry. Did not come from it.
That's awesome. That's really cool that he had the vision not only for the firm, but he had the vision for you as a person, that in your offer letter, he expected you to grow into the COO of the firm. And then here you are. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. He was definitely a visionary entrepreneur. He had a way of pushing people outside of their limits. So it was really fun to work with him while he was here.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that background is awesome, but there is one little note that you left out, which is before you went on your rotation at Bank of America, you were a head cheerleading coach at DePaul University. And so a question I have for you is, what is more difficult, getting a cheer squad synchronized on a big routine or getting a wealth management firm more synchronized on a big new process to serve clients?
So I have to say it's got to be synchronizing a cheerleading team because there's months of preparation, lots of training. You have to work on your routine for months and months on end to get people coordinated. So I think that's a lot harder, but many months of practice before a cheer routine is perfected. So I don't think it takes quite that long to get a wealth management firm trained and onboarded to a new process. We've got a pretty talented and ambitious group at TMG. So
I love it. TMG, you guys have been a top 100 firm on Barron's for 5 years in a row, maybe more. You're absolutely crushing it in a lot of ways. What do you think has contributed to the consistency? A lot of people can jump on that list and they might have a great year, or a lot of people have success in their own ways, but maybe they don't make the Barron's list. But you have kind of combined a lot of success with consistency. What do you think the reason for that is?
So I think TMG is a very special company, and it's got a lot of really smart people that care about doing the right thing for our clients. I think a lot of our success has come from the fact that we've remained disciplined in our focus and our value prop. And that value prop is you don't just get one advisor, you get the Mather Group. So we're focused on understanding our clients' why. That's what we call why-powered wealth management. We want to understand what's important to them, their purpose, their values, what drives them, what are their dreams. And that helps us build out our strategy to help best support them in their journey. And we've kind of remained disciplined in that effort as we serve our clients.
That's great. That's awesome. I've got to ask you too, you sit in the COO seat of a firm that is growing that quickly. and is being consistent, I'm sure there's new challenges that pop up every year. What are some of the big challenges that you're facing right now, sitting in the seat that you are, trying to keep the trains running on time at TMG?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is just technology integration and having a true data management strategy and process. When you've got almost 200 employees, ensuring that people are following consistent processes, entering data the same way, entering data at all, that is how you start to really build scale and build productivity and efficiency in your processes. I think really having a robust data management strategy and ensuring that our team is just maniacal when it comes to entering in processes and workflows and just being very consistent in a way that we're delivering service to our clients. It's super important. But firms like you guys can help other firms, really integrate technology where that doesn't exist, because I think that becomes a huge challenge for a lot of firms.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that for a second. Thank you, by the way, for talking about us. I'll give you your endorsement fee later. But I think that one of the challenges I hear from a lot of people when we're talking, especially those who are growing through M&A like you are, that, maybe a lot of the technology firms have built integration where Orion can integrate with eMoney if you're an advisor running your practice. But when you're trying to plug in a firm that you just bought into something you already have running, like that level of integration is basically non-existent. It's extremely challenging. Mm-hmm. So what, you are very proficient at processes and things like that. Like, how did you get good at that? Because you're buying a lot of firms, you're running a lot of projects like this, and yet there's not like an easy integration path for, moving these pieces of tech in there. I mean, what does that look like?
It's a lot of trial and error, right? You build a process, you build an integration plan, you continue to evolve it. You get better every time. You learn things along the way, and then you incorporate those learnings into the next acquisition that you do. So I think it's just about being open to change, ensuring that you're constantly evolving, you're looking at better, more efficient ways to do things. So after every acquisition that we do a postmortem with the team and the people that are involved, both, on the acquisition partner side and then our kind of core internal centralized teams too, and really look at what went well, what did not go well, how we can get better, and just really being very thoughtful and intentional about the changes that we make to make that a better process the next time around.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to give you a chance to kind of brag a little bit here, because I think everybody who's doing M&A has a transition team or something, but you've already kind of touted the great service and client service that TMG has. But I think one thing I've understood from getting to know you and doing some research is that you have a pretty heavy bent on service when you're doing a transition. I think you actually have a broader team than most people do when you are taking care of this, even as you just talked about that postmortem. So brag a little bit about, your process. If I'm a firm that is going to come and make that huge decision to sell to the Mather Group, what's my experience going to look like from when I say yes, and I have all of that apprehension about, we're going to go through this conversion process and it's going to be tough. But you all really have kind of, narrowed it down. So I'd love to hear you kind of brag about that a little bit and talk about your process.
Yeah. So yes, we have a very robust integration plan. We've done 20 acquisitions. We've got experience with different systems, different processes, different size teams, all sorts of different things. I think one benefit is just that we've done this many times, so we know how to problem solve through things that we haven't seen or done before. So while we have a very, robust integration plan and a process that's built out in Smartsheet, it's very organized and thoughtful and intentional in the way that we sort of sequence the integration. We are able to be flexible and make pivots depending on what's important to that acquisition partner and the teams that are coming along for the ride with us. So yeah, I think it's just really about problem solving your way through some of the challenges that come up with every integration. They are all different. So it doesn't matter how many times you've done it, you're going to face something that you haven't seen before. You're going to be working with people that get kind of cold feet or stressed out or have questions, or you have to reset expectations and realign on sort of what it is you're trying to achieve. I think that's really important. And then at the end of the day, the big focus too is ensuring that what we're delivering is value add to the clients that we have partnered with and acquired. We want them to see the value that is TMG and the bench of resources and team members that come behind the firm, because what we're trying to do is drive value and deliver great service to our clients. So Integration plans are great. We do a really good job, but our team is very good at problem solving through challenges that we face.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's actually interesting because maybe that's a dumb moment for a lot of people. I feel like it's a dumb moment for me, which is everybody can build the most elaborate and efficient and wonderful process for a transition or an M&A. But at the end of the day, you're still going to deal with emotions and you're still going to deal with all kinds of stuff that is probably going to interrupt the best laid plans. So you can use that as a template, but no matter what, you basically have to have people who can think on their feet and who can solve problems in real time.
That's right.
Because that train's probably going to go off the rails at some point during that process.
Yeah, it always does on one side or the other, but both teams just working together to kind of push through and we get through it.
Yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit about industry as a whole. So we'll zoom out and then we'll zoom back in.
Mm-hmm.
But according to a study by McKinsey, they're saying by 2034, which feels forever away, but might not be that far away. But by 2034, we're supposedly going to have 100,000 advisor shortage in the industry. So based on the demand for people that are coming, in simpler terms, for people like me, there's not going to be enough advisors for people who need advice by 2034, right? Mm-hmm. And, you have done a great job of building processes around how to serve clients and things like that. But how do we get advisors or people to be more attracted to come and be advisors in this space? What do you think?
So I think the wealth management is a unique industry in that we're truly helping people. Not everybody can say that about the careers that they pursue. So I think that's special. Mm-hmm. We're working with clients to help them navigate their financial journeys, achieve their financial goals and dreams, feel more financially independent, secure, make better financial decisions. And so I think those are all very high value, good things. And people can feel good about going into an industry where they're truly, truly helping people. And I don't think you can ever replace the human element. So I don't think that AI and technology and automation and all these things that are becoming the forefront of every industry, you just can't replace that human touch and that talking to an actual human being to work through some of those challenges.
I agree. And I think too, if I would add, especially for some of the work that you've done, I think there's this perception, especially with a lot of the news that's coming out and everything. Oh, fee compression wasn't necessarily real, but service increase or expansion is a real thing. So they expect more for less and all of that. And I think if I'm a kid in college or somebody who's thinking about doing this, what I'm seeing is they're trying to decrease what I can make and increase what I have to do from a work perspective or all of that. And I think one of the trends we're going to continue to see is I see firms like the Mather Group and others who are really trying to create these incredibly robust home office service organizations where advisors can just be quarterbacks of the relationship with clients. And if you're somebody who's great at managing the emotional side of things, the psychological side of things, the relational side of things, there are engines that will be behind you to kind of deliver that service expansion if you can be great with clients and you can really care about helping them.
Completely. I think, yes, there is a place and a time for all the AI and automation and to support that relationship and to kind of take off some of the administrative back office tasks from advisors to allow them more time to provide that high value advice and spend more time with their clients. So yes.
Absolutely. And I think one thing about that too, of getting people into the industry is TMG, you guys have developed a really robust internship program.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? If I'm somebody who's kind of toying with the idea of coming in, okay, I just heard Kyle and Kristen talk about, wait, this is changing. Maybe it's going to be great. Maybe I want to go check it out. I want to be an intern at TMG. What does that look like?
It's actually pretty incredible. So this has been going on for many years since the inception of TMG, but we bring on every year, every summer, we bring on between 15 and 30 college junior or seniors. They join us for roughly 8 to 10 weeks, and they do all sorts of things. They help us support our business development efforts. They have an opportunity to interact with and learn from many of our functional leaders. So we do, lectures and things like that on different wealth management topics. They learn about planning, investments, estate planning, trading, operations, data engineering, and they get to spend time actually shadowing our wealth advisors and our business development team. They work on building financial plans. They have sort of a summer project that they work on as well. And then they might actually help with other firm-wide initiatives that are sort of shorter scale focus for the firm. And for us, it's been an unbelievable pipeline for talent. So one of our wealth management regional leaders came from the internship program.
Oh, wow.
Our head of inside sales came from the internship program. our head of Salesforce team came from the internship
Wow.
program. So you're talking not just wealth management or business development or inside sales. Like we've been able to grow and hire organic talent from the inside. And it's been just an unbelievable pipeline for us. And one thing that we offer is one individual as part of the summer internship gets will be awarded the Stuart Mather Scholarship. And that is for an individual that demonstrates integrity, humility, compassion, fairness, some of the key characteristics of Stuart Mather. So that's a really awesome thing that we offer to one of the students that comes from the summer internship program.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I want to double click just really quick. And then you brought up Stuart, so I'd like to talk about that as well. I think there's a lot of firms that set up internship programs. And I think they set them up with the best of intentions. And I think some firms even have success with internship programs. But it sounds like somebody engineered this one to really not just be successful for teaching kids about the industry, but, for you to really develop talent through it. So, I mean, is it just a level of intentionality that makes this successful? Or is it the program itself, the way the kids go through the rotation? Or, I mean, what do you attribute to this actually working? Because I've talked to tons of people who get lots of interns, but it sort of just maybe doesn't stick the same way or, whatever else. So, I don't necessarily want you to give away all the secret sauce, but I am curious about how it's working as well as it is.
I think a lot of it is intentionality. And we put a lot of time and thought into building this internship program and making sure it's a big value add, both for the people that are participating in it as well as TMG. These rotations, they get to learn so much about the industry in a short period of time. We obviously get to tap into some of their experience and potential and get them involved in different projects and things we've got going on. But they really get a well-rounded experience over the summer. They get to meet tons of team members across the firm, get exposure to all sorts of different wealth management topics. And again, we kind of recalibrate and review that internship program every year to see what we can do to improve it, make it better, ensure we're getting the right talent in the door. And a lot of those people, I think typically we offer 6 to 8 full-time offers from that internship program. And so they join our inside sales team and they help support our business development efforts. And then from there, there's lots of career path that they could follow. So
that's so cool. Congrats to you guys, honestly, because I do think that is a really big step in the path of us getting more talent coming into the space, learning what it looks like to be an advisor on a day-to-day basis. And I think a lot of people have the best of intentions, but it's, I guess I didn't know that about how successful you've been. So I'm pretty blown away. And I think that's cool.
Yeah. And one thing too, like when they come in and they're sort of cold calling and calling prospective clients on our behalf, like that is grit. And so then you get sort of exposed to the grit we like to call of TMG and being part of the growth engine.
This podcast is brought to you by Turncast. We make game-changing content for fintech and financial services companies. Learn more at turncast.com.
Hey, this is Judd Mackerel. Thanks for listening to this show. I just wanted to ask you one question. What's your technology and data strategy for 2025? If you can't clearly answer that question, I'd love to talk. We are spending some specific time with select firms to really go deep and help you clearly answer that question. We believe that it's one of the things that often holds back firms from really achieving their potential, from really achieving growth, and really getting a lot of the things in the position that they need to be. Things that are holding up the way that you scale, like your workflows, how you manage data around your revenue, how you report all of that to your advisors, and getting clarity in all those things. I'm sure there's a lot of very specific things to your business that are really important as well, and we'd love to talk about that. If this is interesting to you, hit me up with an email. My direct email is jud@milemarker.co, and I'd love to hear from you, hear what you're working on, hear what your strategy is, and see if there's an opportunity for us to help you get more clear on that strategy in 2025. Thanks.
You brought up the Stuart Mather Scholarship, and I know you also talked about him, earlier on how he, in your offer letter, said you were going to grow into be the COO, and he had this great vision. Sadly, for those who don't know, Stuart passed away way too early at 42 as the founder of the firm. And I know that's been really tough. And part of his legacy outside of the industry was Stuart Mather Memorial Research Fellowship for Cancer Prevention, amongst many other things. But I don't know, how did you remember Stuart, and how does that affect your day-to-day as you continue to help grow that firm?
Yeah, he was a passionate leader, a visionary, super inspirational. He was a powerhouse, truly. I think a lot of us that worked with him closely over the many years just really, valued his leadership style, his tenacity. He was the hardest working person in the office by far. I mean, he was in before everybody, left after everybody, was always available. And I think he just had I mentioned this earlier, he had a real ability to push people to their limits, but allow them to also have autonomy and agency in what they were doing and support. He always supported all of us, but he got people to row in the same direction towards our common goal. And he was super captivating for prospects and clients. He just had a way of, talking to people and inspiring them. And he was just like nobody I've ever met. So
that's cool. What a tribute. That's awesome. I asked that not just to give a tribute to him, but I also think I've seen you try to follow in those footsteps a little bit. So somewhat recently, you joined the board of, I think you pronounce it Fee League?
Fee League, yep.
Fee League, yes.
Yeah.
And this is focused on coaching female professionals and helping them with their career advancement, which I think is cool because I think you got that from Stuart pushing you to your limits, probably sometimes a little, a little too much, but it's helped get you to where you're at now. What skill do you think you have learned from that, or that you find to be the biggest value add for people looking to advance their career that you're kind of talking to people about in your position with Fee League?
Yeah. So I think one thing, probably the biggest value add skill that I've learned and that has become increasingly more important throughout my career is networking. It's not always a comfortable thing for people. People probably try to shy away from going to networking events and meeting people, but networking can open doors to opportunities, partnerships, projects. It helps, the exchange of ideas and insights, and it can be an avenue for advice and support, career guidance, knowledge building. So I don't think there's any proxy for building meaningful relationships with people. And I think you have to be very intentional about going out of your way to network with people and to really get to know people, because you never know what's going to happen or how you will cross paths with somebody in the future, or when you might need them, right? For an opportunity, or just advice or support or guidance or anything. So I think networking is definitely something that we talk about a lot at Fee League, and it's just one of those skills that I think is super important.
That's great. I love that. Okay. I want to move to a segment of the show where I'm going to ask you to get out your crystal ball and talk to us about what you see coming into the future of the wealth management industry. So this can be technology related. It could just be macro trend related in a host of ways. But sitting in your seat, looking at this big engine kind of moving around you, what are some of the things you see coming down the road that you're trying to prepare the Mather Group for?
So I don't think that any of this will be a surprise, but I think we'll see a lot more technology integration and building of data lakes and data repositories so that people can have those centralized repositories of information that's going to help them drive scalability and efficiency across their firms. That will also help them better leverage AI and other technologies. I just think that's people that invest heavily in technology to create scale are going to be the winners and probably be the most successful wealth management firms and RIAs in the industry. So I don't think that's any surprise. I think we all know that those things are coming, but not every firm is really willing to make the investments, hire the talent, and develop the talent that's needed to kind of make those things happen. But that's kind of what I see coming down the pike.
I like it. Okay. You gave me some Milemarker bait there, so I have to double click on it.
Yeah.
I think everybody's talking about AI right now. Great. And they should be. I mean, I'm using it every single day in my life and my workflows and all of that type of stuff. But one thing we're finding is that to really create meaningful efficiency, you have to kind of get the data right. If you're trying to build an AI foundation on top of bad data, it's going to be a frustrating process. So you kind of mentioned the data aspect of this, but talk about how those harmonize together, where, yes, we can do meeting recorders, not that I'm trying to discredit any of those. I think those are powerful tools on the meeting recorder side. And there's other things for marketing and content creation and stuff like that. But if you really want to get into the deep efficiencies, the data and the AI have to work together.
Yes. You've got to spend the time to build good, solid processes on the front end. That means good data in, so you have good data out. So teams need to be spending time to clean up their data, ensure that there is consistency in their data processes and just the data management across all of their systems, right?
All right. So another big macro trend that I talk to people a lot about is consolidation. So do you think that trend's going to continue as much as we're seeing it, or do you think it's going to slow down a little bit? Have all of the firms worth buying been scooped up, or is there still a long tail of firms that you think that trend is going to continue?
I absolutely think that trend is going to continue and probably ramp up over the next few years. I think we're going to see even more consolidation happen in the industry than ever before.
I love it. Okay. We are going to move into the final segment of the show. One of my favorite segments. We call this the Milemarker Minute. It's a series of lightning round questions. I'm going to ask you a bunch of things, more so outside of the business aspect, to get to know you a little bit better. And the goal is to try and have all of the questions answered in 60 seconds or less, but I'm not going to hold you to that.
Okay.
All right. Okay. First question I have for you. If you could travel anywhere in the world that you've never been to before, where would you go?
Japan.
Japan. All right. As a University of Michigan alum and cheerleader for the football team, how exciting was it for you to beat Ohio State this year on a down year for Michigan as a whole?
It was the best, but even better was Michigan winning the national championship last year.
Okay, so now I got to ask you, I'm going to ask a follow-up, okay? Yep. Winning the national championship to the height of the sport, and then to have a down year. I mean, how did that feel emotionally?
That's okay. I was very happy to have won the national championship, beat Ohio State, I think 3 times in a row. So even having an off year, we still beat Ohio State. So that matters. Yeah,
there you go. It's not a bad year for a Michigan fan. Mm-hmm. I love it. Okay, one more Michigan question for you. If the school could only lay claim to one of these ex-Wolverines, which one should they keep? Tom Brady or Gerald Ford?
I'm going to go with Gerald Ford.
All right. I love it. What is the best book you've read or listened to in the past year?
So I read the book, The Obstacle is the Way. I don't know who the author is, but a great book.
Yes. Ryan Holiday, everybody. We'll put it in the show notes. Great book. Are you a mountains person or a beach person?
Beach all day.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. True or false? Within the next 10 years, there will be a $1 trillion RIA.
True or false? True.
Yeah. True. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you did it. You made it through the Milemarker Minute. Kristen, it was so much fun having you on the Connected Advisor. Thank you so much for sharing some insights about what it takes to grow a firm that's been on the Barron's list for the past 5 years running and continues to just be a machine for growth. It was awesome to have a conversation with you and hear your insights.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. This is a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Okay, everybody, that's been another episode of the Connected Advisor. Please make sure you click follow or subscribe wherever you're listening to or watching this. And if you'd be kind enough to leave us a review so other people can find conversations like this one with Kristen, I would really appreciate it. And until next time, enjoy every mile.